So thank you again for being here. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Dr. Stevens.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a alumni of the GRWB boot camp, so definitely know how beneficial it can be. But yeah, a lot of work for sure, especially on your weekend. I'm so happy that they started offering these on the weekend. Just opens it up to a whole other group of students. So really great to see you all here. So I will share my screen with you all. But today I'm going to talk to you about the thesis and dissertation format review process. Let's see here. So I will share that. All right. So as Alyssa mentioned, my name is Jennifer Stevens, and I work over in the grad college. I'm the thesis and dissertation formatting manager. And so this is what we're going to go over today: how to prepare for your format review for the graduate college, some of the different resources that we have available to help you all prepare your final document, when and how it's time to prepare for that final review process. And then we'll go over what the review process looks like, what it is that we're looking for in your documents. And then I'll kind of run through the reviewer feedback process and what that looks like, and how you'll implement those corrections that they give you. And then we'll go over the step you'll take once your review is completed. And then finally, we'll just go over any questions that you all have. And then if we have time, maybe look at our most common formatting issues document and go over that good stuff. So when do you have to think about submitting your final document to the graduate college for format review? So after your defense, your committee will give you any edits that they want you to complete. And once all of that is finished and you have your final document in terms of, substantive material in there, all of the edits are finished, then you'll go ahead and use the different resources we have available to make sure that your document is formatted correctly. And then once you've done that, you'll go ahead and submit that to the graduate college for that official review. So we have a lot of different materials for students. We try and make it as smooth of a process as possible. We know it's so much work. Just writing all of these things, doing your research. So we've come up with a few different aids to provide students. So first, and we'll go over each of these a little bit in depth, but we have our formatting manuals, YouTube videos, we have one-on-one office hours, and then when all else fails, or I always tell students, anytime you have a question, always just send us an email. And if it's not our team, then we can help get you to the right person on campus. All right. So our first resource that we have for you are these formatting manuals, and they're PDFs of different step-by-step instructions for each section of your document. And it might look a little overwhelming. So that picture on the bottom right, if you can see, this is where you will find all of the different manuals that we have. If you click on this link here, unlv.edu/graduate-college/thesis, this is going to take you to the main thesis and dissertation guidelines website. And this is where you'll find all different kinds of information, like how to announce your defense, all the way through the formatting manuals, and then finally how to submit your final document. But if you go to that website, you'll click on number 5, organization of thesis and dissertation, and you'll see all of these different ones pop down. And I always tell students, don't get too overwhelmed. It looks like a lot of documents, but you probably won't need all of them, right? Again, we just try and make it as straightforward and and simple as possible. So if you are having a problem, let's say for your table of contents, then you can click on that manual, and it goes through the step-by-step process of how to either add it manually or add it automatically in Word. So we have all of those different documents on there. And then this is also hyperlinked down at the bottom. That's the most common formatting issues. And that will be at the top of that website. But always go there if you have any question on a specific section. Or like I say, you just want information on that final graduation process of getting that document in. Okay, and our YouTube videos. This is our latest addition to our resources. Right now we have 3 available. We have the abstract page, copyright page, and the cover page. So we're kind of just working down the line to finish making those. But these are short little videos. I think the longest one is 5 minutes. The other 2 are about 1.5 minutes. But we try to keep them very short. And it's just another tool that you can use to visually see how to do what it is we want from your final document. So that cover page is a really good one. Again, just a helpful if you're a visual person to see, you know, the step-by-step process of how to do yours, and then what the example is of like what it should look like. And so here's a link for on our YouTube graduate college channel there that you can get to those videos. And you can also find them if you go to that thesis and dissertation guidelines website that I was just talking about under that number 5 organization of thesis and dissertation, and they'll just be bulleted under there. The cover page is up for sure. The other 2, we're waiting for those to get posted. So if you can't find them there, just click on that YouTube link and it'll take you to the UNLV Graduate College YouTube channel and you can find them there. Okay, and then our last major resource that we offer students is our thesis and dissertation office hours. This is where you'll receive one-on-one assistance. You can send in your paper and we can, you know, kind of review it with you and let you know if we see any problems before you submit it for your official review. Or if you have any questions, maybe you submitted your document for review and you're not really sure how to do what they're asking, or you've taken a look at the manuals and still can't, you know, figure out how to do it. Here's where we'll sit with you one-on-one and walk you through that process, right? And really make sure that you have all the resources necessary to get it in the right shape that we want it. And the office hours are every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 2 p.m. We try and add more office hours availability at the end of the semester, since that's when everyone's trying to submit. So always, you know, reach out as soon as you can just to make sure we can fit you in the schedule. And then to schedule an appointment, you'll just email here, grad.td@unlv.edu. But yeah, I found this is a really helpful resource. With you all attending the boot camp, you know, you're already starting to think about some of these things or try and get ahead of the game. And so I would definitely suggest, you know, taking a look at that main website and look at, you know, the different organizations or organization and the required sections that you'll need. And if there's anything that doesn't make sense or, you know, can't figure out how to do it, just reach out. And usually people find that that one-on-one help is pretty helpful and clear if it doesn't make sense already. Okay, and then when in doubt, always know that you can email that grad.td@unlv.edu email address. And like I say, even if it's not our formatting team, I can help get you to the right person. This is also the email address that the RPC team uses, which is retention, progression, completion. And so they're in charge of making sure that all of your different paperwork is in, your culminating experience form and all that. So anytime you have questions, like I say, about that whole process of graduation and final documents and deadlines, feel free to reach out to that. And then here's my personal email also, so jennifer.stevens@unlv.edu, and feel free to just reach out to me or the grad TD. Usually I'm the one checking that one, so I kind of feel like they're both my email sometimes. But yeah, feel free to use either one. And then so once you have, your final document, you've done your defense, you've looked at all these different manuals, and your paper is as close to as perfect as it's going to be, because we all know it's never over, right? There's always something to work on. But for our final paper, you have it, like I say, with the formatting where it should be, and now it's time to submit it for review. You're going to go to that same grad college TD guidelines website, that main website that we have. And then once you're there, you'll go under number 10, format review. And you'll see here there's a hyperlink for our submission website. So you'll click on that, and then that will take you to the portal where you upload your final document. They want it in PDF version. And then you'll fill out some information like your NSHE, your chair's name and email address, just things like that. And then once you submit, usually within a day or two, your document will get assigned to one of the reviewers on our team. And this is the checklist that we actually use, can also be found on the website there. And so we go through the checklist, and don't worry, as students, you won't have to worry about each of these little boxes here on the checklist. That's just for the reviewer's purpose. Where the arrow is here, let me go back and see if I can. Oop, now I messed it up. There we go. Okay, so right there where that arrow is, they'll put the number of the section that you have revisions in. So if you see here, I'm not sure how big it is, but this first one, it says 1 cover page. So if you have anything on your cover page that needs to be corrected, they'll put a number 1 up there by the arrow. So let's say yours might look like 1, 3, and 5, right? But they'll tell you at the end of each section specifically what to do. So you'll never have to go through and read all these little boxes and worry about all of that. Your reviewer just will put the number there, and then in the box at the end of that section, it will say like, please make sure your title is in all caps, all capital letters, right? Things like that. So they'll always give you some kind of note on what specifically you need to change in order to have that formatted correctly. And then once, I'm sorry, that same checklist, your reviewer is going to send this back to you once they're finished. And then you'll be able to put in any of those corrections. And then once, this might take 1 time, some students, it might take 2 or 3 times. But really it all depends, I found, on how much work you put into it before you submit. So if you spend some time and look at the checklist and really, really try, you should have no problem. It should be a quick and easy process, right? It's usually just when maybe students don't know that they even have to submit it to the grad college, so they don't even know about the formatting thing. Then you might have like more revisions. But like I say, with you all, the fact that you're already thinking about this and are planning on it, and know about the resources, you should be fine. So, but once you do receive your formatting approval, they'll send you an email that looks just like this. Congratulations, your document has received format approval. Then on that same email, your RPC coordinator that I mentioned before, they'll be CC'd on that email, and then they will know to take that final document and add your approval page. So one little thing is that everyone always asks why we want the abstract, which is like the first section, besides the cover page, is supposed to begin on lowercase Roman numeral 3. And so everyone's always confused because they're like, well, what about number 2? Like if this is 1 and we start on 3, but this number 2 will be your approval page, and your RPC coordinator will insert that for you. So you all don't have to worry about that. And once they insert that, they'll send it to you for you to confirm that, you know, your committee is correct, the title looks correct, everything. And then once you give them the okay, they'll send you the instructions for this step-by-step process to upload that final document to ProQuest, which is the digital repository called Digital Scholar for UNLV. All right, so that's kind of the main process, you know, and like I said, we can kind of go over right now. I don't know if you all have any specific questions. I wanted to kind of cover those first since you're all here live, and we can do kind of like a one-on-one thing. Then depending on how much time, we can go over some of those most common formatting issues or just different things I've seen. So any questions over there? And I'm not sure, let me open the chat, I guess, too, in case you want to type any, but, or maybe unmute, is that easier? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we are unmuted, but nobody's on the chat, so we'll see.
Oh, duh. Okay, yeah, I see you all now. Okay, at the table. Sorry. All right.
I guess the most common formatting issues.
Yeah, for sure. I know that's kind of always a big one. So let me go over and I'll click on that document that we have available. But some of the things, well, here, let me exit this. That'll be easier. But just from experience, I would say the main things that people usually have problems with, there's probably like 3. So one, the cover page. And it's not that, you know, I don't think it's that it's, you know, so difficult, let's say, quote unquote. But what it is there's just a lot of components to it. Let's see here. Why will it not? No, that's okay. I'll open this one. And we'll just go to the website. So it's not that it's that difficult. It's just that there's a lot of components to it. And they want, you know, since this is the first thing that everyone will see, they want to make sure that everyone's from UNLV is pretty consistent, right? This is the one thing that kind of ties everyone's work together. So again, this is just that unlv.edu/graduate college/thesis. And if you go under number 5, so here, for example, I'll click on the cover page just so you all can see if you haven't taken a look already. I'll go down to the sample document. But as you can see here, we really try and lay out, you know, what we mean in detail for every little thing. And don't let it be overwhelming, because I know, you know, it's like, oh, wow, a 12-page, 18-page document, you know, it seems like, what in the world do they want us to do? But it's just because we lay everything out very specifically. So let me go to the sample first, just so you can see. Okay, so here's a sample of one that is a doctoral project, but you'll notice, like, for the title, all of the titles, we want them to be all capitals, all caps, you know, and if it's more than one line, it should be an inverted triangle. So with the smallest line at the bottom. So see how this one, it has that shorter line underneath. And then let me click over to this other sample real quick. So here you can see, again, title in all caps and kind of that inverted triangle. And there should be like a space between each component, and then by your name. And then these are just your previous degrees. So Bachelor of Arts or Master of Arts, you know, and then the degree you're receiving, the different department, college and grad college. and then UNLV and the date. So, it's not that difficult, like the information, but they're very particular, like it has to be single space, just like that, and in that exact order. But usually I think that's one area where students might always have little hangups. So just be sure to take a look at the manual. And like I say, if you ever want to send it to me to look at before you submit for your official review, perfectly fine with that. And then another area that I think students have some issues with is page numbers. And you might think, like, what page numbers? How could that be so difficult? So again, it's not really that. No, I can't even find I was gonna say, oh my gosh, it's missing, but we found it. So again, it's not that, it's technically difficult to do, but I find with students, if you've never had to do it before, you just have to take some time and go through and kind of look here, we lay it out for you. How to set up the page numbers in Word. So the thing that makes it kind of unique or different, and let me go down to a little example here. There should be a little example. Okay, maybe we don't. But the thing that makes it different, let's say, than just a paper you would turn in for a class or something, is that the front half of the document will be lowercase Roman numerals for your numbers. And then Arabic numerals will be used starting on the first page of your first chapter. And then that will start with the number 1, Arabic numeral 1. So what makes it, I think, kind of difficult or complicated is that it requires you to do these different breaks, page breaks up to the next break, or I'm sorry, page break up to the top of the next page. It's in the section breaks area. And we break it down for you in the manual, but like I say, that's just one place that students will struggle on. Because again, I don't think most people have to use that skill or use that in Word. And then the final thing I definitely would look at is if you have any tables or figures in your document, you want to make sure that the spacing is correct. So let me go down to the example and show you what that looks like. Okay, so that's just the list. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the sample list of tables. Okay, here, this will work better. So what they want you to do, and here is the table 1, if you look there, there's 2 double-spaced line breaks or 2 double-spaced lines before it and after it, if there's any text before it or below it. So the purpose of this is they want it to be very clear when the reader is scrolling through your paper that, hey, this is a table, this is a figure, like very clear and separated from your actual text. So you always want to make sure there's 2 lines of spacing, 2 double spaced blank lines in between, if there's multiple tables in between the 2 tables, or again, if there's text above it or below it. Let me see if we have another one. So, but again, it's not really that it's that hard or difficult. It's just more so that you wouldn't really know to be looking to do that or look for that. So here you can kind of see, let me go back up. So this is just like kind of the beginning of the text and blah, 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 tables 1 and 2. So you have the text, 2 double spaced blank lines, and then the title with the table, then 2 more double spaced blank lines, the next table, and then before the text starts again, 2 more double spaced blank lines. And it, trust me, it feels like very weird as you're doing it because it looks like too much spacing or like, oh wow, there's a lot of space, because they would rather you have more space than not enough. But again, it's one of the requirements from the editors that everything looks kind of standard and has those, particular formatting features. That way, all of the papers from UNLV look very professional, because everyone did put so much time and effort into these, right? So, like I say, we know that you spend so much hard work on this, that the last thing you want to have to do is stress out about formatting stuff. So we really do try and make it as helpful as possible. But always feel free to reach out, if there's something that doesn't make sense or something you need help with. It's kind of hard unless you already have something, that you're thinking about or on your mind. But I do think as long as you have it in the back of your head that you're going to have to do this and just kind of keep checking with those manuals, you should have a much easier time, much less stressful time than just kind of winging it or submitting what you have. All right. Alyssa, was there any more questions or anything?
I think that's it for questions, but we have your slides, so the contact information's all there and folks can follow up or set up those consultations or one-on-ones. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like I say, always feel free to reach out if you just want me to double check something or look at something for you, or have any other questions or concerns.
Oh, we have one more question.
So it's
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, of course.
not about formatting, it's about a different thing. So we need to submit our final thesis for a similarity check too, right? For plagiarism similarity check.
So what was the second part? Submit it to who?
I think I read somewhere that after we like finish writing our thesis final report, we need to submit it somewhere for a similarity check, like how much, like what percentage is similar, like plagiarism check.
Oh.
So where do we do it, and like how much of similarity is accepted? Because like 7% is pretty normal, right?
Yes, good question. Good question. So where you'll go to find that is in GRWB Gateway. So when you go in there, and that's where you'll do all of your paperwork. So after you defend your thesis or dissertation, that's where you'll send your culminating experience form, they call it. But that's basically just the paper or digital document that your committee signs that says, yes, they passed and they approve. And when you're in there in GRWB Gateway, you'll see with the different links to checking your similarity score. And one thing, I'm so glad you brought that up, because everyone always gets, including myself, gets very nervous when running it, mostly because I think it's just like this fear of like even though you didn't do anything wrong, it's just like, oh my goodness, I don't want any problems. But I've been working at the grad college now going on I think it's 6 or 7 years, and I've never seen anyone have a problem. I believe the number, it says on the website, but I believe the number is something like 12% or something you're allowed. And again, as long as you have a reference section, a works cited section, you'll be fine. Typically, if anyone does have any issue or their score is higher than that's the number they give you, in the past, it's always been because of citation issues, or like they didn't include it, or they cited it in like some kind of weird way that the computer didn't recognize, kind of thing. But typically, like the average student never has any problems. It's usually not a big issue. But yeah, definitely wait to run it until like the very end. That way you've like double checked, all the citations are in that final works cited section and all that good stuff. But all of that will be found on the GRWB Gateway on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Stevens. Appreciate your time on the Sunday afternoon, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you for having me, and good luck, everyone, with your writing and your documents, and reach out if you have any questions.